Bang! It's the Mal Palin show. They held me up against the wall and said, put us on or you're done. That's what happened.
Or you're done. That's exactly how it happened, actually. That's exactly how it happened.
So they're going to go through, there are 8 Texas college football teams that will be playing in bowl games all throughout the month of December. And so they're going to go ahead and break that down. So we'll go ahead and throw up this first one here. The first one we're going to talk about, New Mexico Bowl. It is the UTEP Miners taking on Fresno State. This one is Saturday, December 18th at 2:15 p.m. on ESPN. What you got?
I like this one. I think the story here is UTEP. Mm-hmm. They're making their first postseason appearance since 2014, and they're also coming in this game as an 11-point underdog, which seems like a lot, but I mean they've defied all odds this year.
Sure.
Fresno State, their head coach is now at Washington, and they almost lost their quarterback to Washington too. He actually entered the transfer portal, but now he's actually deciding to stay at Fresno State. I think one of the key to this game, it's going to come down to UTEP's offensive line and really its pass protection, giving Hardison enough time to make those explosive plays that we know he's capable of making, and kind of just throwing this Fresno defense, off balance, really.
Yeah. First of all, I'm upset that the bowl committee did not send UTEP to a farther bowl.
game.
Yeah, because I believe this is the 3rd time they're playing in New Mexico this season.
Yeah.
So I hated that for the players because I wanted to see them really get rewarded for
Absolutely.
this. But I agree that the passing offense in particular, UTEP's a team that tries to balance, and they are one of the worst rushing teams this year.
Yeah.
Partially due to kind of the running backs being banged up and the offensive line kind of being inconsistent. And so, but when it comes to the passing game, they're absolutely explosive. They got Garrett, they got Cowing. Hardison has a big arm. When he has time to throw, like you mentioned, they can make things interesting. Now, Fresno State will be under an interim coach, so that 11-point spread, we'll see if that plays into it at all, because of course Fresno's not going to be, without their head coach, it's going to be a little bit weird maybe.
Right.
But they probably are the on paper, more talented team. But UTEP's probably been in this situation way more than they haven't this season. And they've, like you mentioned, they're still in a bowl, they're still here, they're able to hang with those teams. So I'm kind of looking forward to that one.
All right, now, give me your pick. UTEP, Fresno State.
Going Fresno State.
I think I am too, unfortunately. Yeah,
Boo!
we're going Fresno State.
Sorry.
Boo! I'll take you, Miners. I'll take
All right,
you.
we'll take it. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's move on to a local bowl game for us, the Frisco Bowl, UTSA, the Roadrunners taking on San Diego State. This one, December 21st, that's a Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN.
So I want to before you start.
Okay.
And I'm going to look right in the camera. I'm serious about this. This game is going to come down to San Diego State's punter. And I'm dead serious about this.
Let's go.
Matt Araiza is the best punter in the country. San Diego State's offense is not good. Their defense is excellent.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
And part of that is Matt Araiza, again, is the best. I believe he's broken Braden Mann's record for average punt. He's averaging 51.4 yards per punt. I believe he's also leading the nation in net punt yards too. Basically, their strategy literally comes down to flipping the field and making teams drive the majority of that field against that defense. And he plays so much into that. So when I say it comes down to their punter, it actually comes down to can Frank Harris and Sincere McCormick go against that defense, legitimately having to drive 80-plus yards every single time against a really good defense. So it's not a joke. You're going to watch this game. He had an 81-yard punt this year. Like, he's nuts. He's insane. He's absolutely fantastic. So I wanted to get that spiel out the way before you started.
Well, basically, you hit the nail.
Deserve more love.
Absolutely. Well, you hit the nail on the head with that. I was just going to say, their rushing defense ranks top 3 in the nation, only allowing 2.5 yards per carry. Yeah. That's absolutely absurd. So, I mean, one of the keys to this game I was going to say, too, is just, UTSA is really just going to have to rely more on, Zachary Franklin and Frank Harris and Zachary Franklin instead of Sincere McCormick here.
Sure. So. Yeah, I think so. I think you're going to see if UTSA can strike early, then San Diego State's in more of a hairy situation because their offense is not very good.
Right.
So if UTSA has started early before we saw last week against Western Kentucky. If they can get up to a 10, 14-point lead, then all of a sudden the game's way more in their hands.
Right. All right, who's your pick? Who you going with?
I'm going with UTSA. I think so.
I think I'm going to go with San Diego State on this one. Punter. Just because that defense is just so deadly.
It really is incredible. That's a great defense. I'm going to go with UTSA because I like the balance they have on both sides of the ball.
We got to keep score of this.
Yeah, I think we'll see.
We'll go back.
I was about to say.
Yeah, hold some score.
Keep track of that.
I got you.
What's next, Pickle?
I got one job here. Frisco Football Classic, North Texas versus Miami of Ohio. Thursday, December 23rd, 3:30 p.m. on ESPN.
The other Frisco Bowl. There are two. There's one that's better than the other. One of them was just made up, so North Texas can go to a bowl game. So congratulations to the Mean Green. This is the first time this bowl is being played. Yeah. Frisco Football Classic. Now let's backtrack here a little bit. If you guys remember, UNT was 1-6 after that loss to Liberty earlier in this season. They have just really exploded from that point out, going 5-0 to finish out the rest of the season. Now they're at 6-6, I believe. They just really found their identity in that run game between DeAndre Torrey and Ragsdale. Now I think that Miami, Ohio, they have a great defense. I think they have the best defense in the MAC, I believe, but the one area that they struggle with on defense is that rushing defense, which we've seen North Texas can shred through those rushing defenses when they're just not very good. So I think really one of the keys to this game is North Texas just play it safe and don't make any mistakes, don't make any turnovers. Right. And I think you should have this in the bag.
It's weird. It was weird how they reinvented themselves down the line because, Seth Luttrell wants to throw the ball. He's an air raid kind of guy. And they basically said, we're going to rush for 250-plus yards a game. And especially against UTSA, we saw it just absolutely control the game. And I think that's why I'm going to take them in this game because they do. I mean, we just named DeAndre Torrey one of our All-Texas teams. I believe he made the second team. And so, I love the way that they've reinvented this offense. And if Osanani doesn't if he can just kind of make third and short throws, maybe throw teams off on a first down or something of a play action fake or something, then that's when he's kind of more comfortable. You don't want him really chasing
these
a game.
Deep passes.
Yeah, you don't want him taking these chasing a game when you're down 10 or whatever.
Right.
If you can stay ahead of the chains. I mean, he's in a comfortable situation. He's a smart quarterback to where if he, very simple situations, he can move you down the field, lean on that running game, and they'll be fine. And that's been the recipe literally to this 5-0 run.
All right, you heard it here. Both Ish and I are taking North Texas, and I believe Pickle is too, I guess. She cawed, so I think that's what that means. Pickle, what's next up on the list?
Glad Malpal's here to be my translator. All right, up next, let's go the Birmingham Bowl. Houston Cougars taking on the Auburn War Eagles Tuesday, December 28th, 12 o'clock p.m. on ESPN. Who you got?
I don't like this matchup. I think this is a very lopsided matchup. You have a G5 team taking on an SEC opponent.
Well, I mean, Houston, they're basically 5-5 now with Big 12.
Right, I guess you're right when you put it in that perspective. Houston had a great year. They went 11-2, struggled quite a bit in that AAC championship last week against Cincinnati. Clayton Tune was really under pressure during that game. I think the defense sacked him 8 times. Yeah. And Auburn, hate to break it to you, has an even better rushing defense than Cincinnati does. So really, I think one of the keys to this game, protect Clayton Tune, give him time in the pocket to throw the ball downfield. Yeah. I think you should be good.
I think that's going to definitely play into this. I do wonder about Auburn's offense a little bit because Houston has a very good defense, a very good front seven. Yeah. I think Marcus Jones is going to play into this as well. That was one of the things, to me, last week, if Houston was going to come out with a win, it was going to be because Marcus Jones in special teams and then making a play on defense. He really was neutralized in the special teams game, didn't really have many opportunities to make a big play. And then, of course, Desmond Ridder and Cincinnati just neutralized him with their running game, and then their RPOs made him a non-factor. I don't think Auburn's that succinct on offense, and so I think he'll come into play here. I think I'm going to go Houston.
Okay.
Because, again, the Auburn defense is really good, but I think we know the recipe to this Houston offense, which is just protect Clayton Tune. Right. And you don't even need to lean on the running game. You can lean on Clayton Tune if he has time to throw, right? That hamstring's been giving him issues all year. That's kind of been the thing. But even with that, he's been able to still make plays with his feet, looks comfortable, making deep throws, making tough throws to Nathaniel Dell. I'm going to go Houston because I think that Cincinnati's just that good.
Yeah.
And I think this Houston team is still very good, but Cincinnati's just, they're a playoff team. So.
Right. I think this is probably the second toughest team that Houston has faced this year by far.
Definitely.
Texas Tech, Cincinnati, Houston. So they should be ready for it. I think I am with you. I think I might take Houston
Famous
on
last
this.
words.
Famous last words, I know, but
I'm with you.
I've got faith in that line. So I think I'll take Houston as well. Pickle?
How about we matriculate over to the Liberty Bowl? And I think the Liberty Bowl is going to get more eyes on it just single-handedly because of this matchup than it ever has before. Texas Tech versus the Fighting Mike Leaches of Mississippi State, Tuesday, December 28th, 6:45 p.m. on ESPN. That's a weird kickoff time.
It is. I want to call this the Mike Leach Bowl.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I love this. I love
Pirate
this
Bowl.
matchup. This is probably one of my favorite matchups, I think, of all 8 games that we have. Texas Tech finished 6-6 on the year, barely becoming bowl eligible, but really sparked. They just had that spark at the last minute, towards the end of the season to become bowl eligible. We saw Tech's offense start to roll really well against Baylor and Donovan Smith at quarterback. So one of the keys I had to this game, Texas Tech, getting their offense rolling again. They need to convert on 3rd down to stay on the field, and they just have to really be able to give that defense some rest. Because if you remember back to that Oklahoma State game, their defense played great. They held them they held some big stops and stuff like that, but their offense just couldn't stay on the field long enough, so this defense just got worn out, and I think that's going to be a big factor in this game as well.
I think that's why I'm taking Mississippi State, is because last year I didn't think the Mike Leach hire was very good. The offense kind of sputtered. They really were inconsistent.
Well, it's just a different kind of style that Mississippi State's used to, right?
Sure, exactly. Yeah. And last year the defense was actually what they were leaning on. You're like, okay, well, it's a Mike Leach team. Things
exactly.
Like that. This year it's kind of flipped. I mean, the defense is still very solid, but the offense has really caught up.
Right.
And so I think that's why I'm leaning Mississippi State in this matchup. As much as all the good vibes for Joey McGuire's hire, I think that pumped a lot of energy in. The fact that Sonny Cumbie stayed on as the interim coach, obviously he's going to be the Louisiana Tech head coach going in the future. But Joey McGuire did something really smart by keeping that staff intact as what it was and not really getting involved right now. But I still think we've seen the limitations of Donovan Smith. We've seen kind of the limitations of what they can do on offense. The defense, I think, is okay, not great. I don't think that it's the same offense. It's the same defense that gave up, 70 to Texas, right? I don't think they're that bad, but they're clearly not, to me, to the level to probably shut down Mississippi State, who seems to be clicking pretty well right now.
Yeah.
So.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take Mississippi State as well, too. I just think this team's just going to be too much for Tech to handle.
And Mike Leach looking for revenge.
Absolutely.
A petty Mike Leach is dangerous. So.
A petty Mike Leach is the best Mike Leach. Let's just put that out there.
That's the best Twitter combo that
Absolutely. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's go to the Fenway Bowl. The SMU Mustangs taking on Virginia. Wednesday, December 29th, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Another team looking with that, I think, with an interim coach, I believe.
Both of them are.
Oh, yeah,
SMU. I guess SMU and Virginia both look. Yeah, both. I'm going to come out and say it. I think this game's going to be an absolute shootout. I think the final score is going to be like 45 to like 50. I don't know.
Sure.
Math.
But math is hard, especially when you're on an internet show. But both of these teams, they put up a lot of points. They also allow a lot of points to be put up on them. They're both two teams that like to air it out. They're both aired out offenses, both with subpar pass defenses as well. I think the key to this game for SMU is just to get more stops in the red zone than Virginia.
Yeah, I think for me, the key to this game is going to be more intangible for SMU. I think it's going to be these guys are pissed off. Like they just went through that whole thing with Sonny Dykes, their coordinators leave, their coaches leave. And I think this is going to be a chance for them to win something for themselves.
Yeah.
That whole coaching situation was, to me, we talked about it on Republic of Football, was a joke. It's like if you're a player and you see that happen the way it happened, right? Not necessarily that your coach leaves, but the way it happens. The news comes out about his extension that he never signed. The news comes out that he's basically taken the job. He hasn't told you anything.
Yeah.
You
and
find
this
out.
Went on for weeks.
Yeah, it's
too.
been on for weeks. Literally, when the Tech job opened, and obviously he goes to TCU.
And all those rumors started coming out and stuff.
You guys find out on the bus that he's leaving, via social media. You're probably wanting to just huddle up, and win something for you guys. Right.
And not to mention them getting left out of the Big 12 conversation as well, too.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, that definitely. You see Houston get a call.
Absolutely.
You see Cincinnati. You're like, wait, we were in the conversation with those guys in terms of the AAC. So, yeah, no, I have no. I believe firmly that they're gonna really try to use this as a win for themselves.
Yeah. It would be a very confidence booster for them to beat a Power 5 team like 100%. That, to prove that, yeah, we still do belong here.
100%.
We're a good team.
Yeah,
and we just had some issues off the field.
Exactly, and I think the key to this one will be Ulysses Bentley as well. Tanner Mordecai's best games came when Ulysses Bentley was a factor in the run game. As good as Levine is, as good as some of those other guys are, he is the X factor. So I think if he gets going, Tanner Mordecai's going to get going. That makes his life easier, where you can just hit these receivers over the top and kind of break this game open. So
I think we're both going SMU.
Going SMU, yeah.
SMU. Go Ponies. Mustangs. Whatever you are. What's next, Pickle?
Horses. Gator Bowl. Texas A&M taking on Wake Forest Friday, December 31st on New Year's Eve, 11 a.m.
Fun fact, these teams have already met before in 2017. It was a shootout.
Yeah.
I don't remember who won. If you can tell me who won. I think it was Wake Forest.
I don't think it's going to be a shootout this year.
No, I don't think it's going to be a shootout at all. Yeah. I'll just go ahead and get right into it. One of the key, Texas A&M needs to establish the run game early, I think, and jump out early, because we have seen in their 4 losses this year that when they do get behind, it's difficult for them to come back.
Yeah, Zach Calzada is not a guy you want chasing a game. As much as he has arm talent, right? That's kind of his thing. He can hit the deep ball if he needs to, but he's not the guy you want throwing 40 times a game.
Right.
I think for this one is going to be Jimbo finding the hot-handed running back, because I think this is what hurt him against LSU. This is what hurt him against Ole Miss. He's so committed to balance with Spiller and Ashane that sometimes you just need to let Ashane go. Because I think it was against Ole Miss where he was averaging 6-7 yards a carry. He had their best gain, or it might have been LSU, where he had their biggest gain of the day. And he was still committed to both of them getting 10, 15 carries.
Right.
And Spiller wasn't as explosive in the run game. And
just let him go.
Right, yeah, A&M fans are just let Ashane be the guy for this game. And I think that's going to be the big one, because Wake Forest, I'll tell you right now, Wake Forest, I believe they're top 15 offense in SP+. Yeah. You want to keep that off the field. Obviously, your defense is fantastic if you're A&M. We put them on the cover of our magazine. You saw what Georgia did against Alabama's offense, or what they didn't do rather, versus what A&M's defense did. So they're legitimately very good, but you still want to be able to capitalize as much as you can on offense. And by doing that, you got to be able to run the ball. And that's, again, Jimbo's way smarter than any of us will be. But it's no coincidence that their best performances, their best wins, Alabama came when they were running the ball. Their offensive line was really establishing itself against the defensive line, and Zach Calzada made the throws he needed to make, not necessarily the ones that you the situation
relying on him.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. So. Yep. I think I'm going to go Texas A&M on this.
I'm going to go A&M as well.
Quite a bit.
But this one's going to be close. Wake Forest was a really good team this year. This shouldn't be frowned upon.
Yeah, that Pitt game was really good.
Yeah, Dave Clawson has done a really good job there.
Yeah. So. All right, what's last up on our list of bowl games?
Finally, how about a New Year's Six Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, as those Baylor Bears, not Conference USA, the Big 12 champion, versus Ole Miss, Saturday, January 1st on New Year's Day, 8:45 p.m. on ESPN.
And speaking of that Big 12 championship, that stellar Baylor defense. Man, I can't even stop thinking about that very last drive of Oklahoma State. Even the last play, I guess you could say, you kind of group them together. But that defense has just been stellar these past couple weeks. I think one of the key matchups or keys to this game, they're going to have to get pressure on Ole Miss's quarterback, Matt Corral. Yeah. He is going to be the star of this game if this defense lets up even a little bit. They got to control the line of scrimmage.
Oh, 100%. They go from facing an a quarterback that we talked about, Spencer Sanders, who can turn the ball over a bit, to a guy who can win the game by himself, Matt Corral.
Absolutely.
And so I think that for Baylor's offense to keep him off the field, right, they're going to need to really get with Abram Smith and Treston Ebner. And they did that so well last week. They put Blake Shapen in very good situations to where he was making, particularly in the first half, he made the throws he needed to make. Second half, Oklahoma State's defense kind of really shored up and kind of made things more frustrating for him. But they're not facing a defense that good this week, right? Ole Miss is a solid defense. They're not great. But obviously you want to keep Matt Corral off the field. So I think that a lot of the outside stretch runs that they've done with Smith and then Ebner this year, that's going to be the key. And of course, I mean, Jalen Petrie leading that defense against Matt Corral. That's going to be fun. That's going
to be a good one-on-one matchup.
Yes, because Matt Corral right now is in the conversation to be the first quarterback taken off the board in the draft.
Right.
This is going to be probably Baylor's biggest test of the year, probably by far.
Absolutely.
This is going to be probably Matt Corral's biggest test. Actually, did they play? I don't know if they played Georgia this year. I don't think they did.
They did not. They did not because they're in the yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be the biggest test he's going to face defensively. So. That's going to be the matchup: Baylor's defense versus Matt Corral's arm. Because this Ole Miss team has also been kind of just Matt Corral. Like there really isn't a star
there's
receiver.
Not another.
Yeah, there's not like a running back that typically you see with an Ole Miss team. It's very much been the Matt Corral show on that side of the ball.
I kind of feel like they're the opposite of Ohio State. So Ole Miss, you got a really good quarterback that can pretty much put it in the hands of any receiver that's in the area.
Sure.
Whereas kind of off topic, but Ohio State, you got a 20 million different receivers that can just jump up, catch the ball, and you can have an okay quarterback. I mean, CJ Stroud's pretty good, but they're kind of the opposite. Well, and of course, Baylor's going to be on the big stage. This is one of the first big bowl games, New Year's Six Bowl, that they have been to in a while. So yes, absolutely, you're right. It's going to be a huge test for Baylor, probably the biggest test.
I'm going Baylor, by the way.
I'm going Baylor too.
Yeah.
Give me those Bears. I think we're good.
Where's the mascot head?
Yeah,
I know.
Exactly.
Give me Lee Corso. Channel Inner Lee Corso. But yes, as these bowl games play out, Ish and I will keep track of who gets the most right. Maybe we'll have to do some kind of wager on Republic of Football or something, or unless you're scared.
Wow.
Oh, let's go, fight.
Fight. Switch the camera back before I beat you up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, before it gets bad over there. There it is, the College Football Bowl breakdown. Thank you to both Mallory and Ish for hopping on to do that with us. And like they said, make sure to listen to Republic of Football, because as the bowl season goes on, those two, along with our college football insider Mike Craven, will have you set.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.